There you go.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the recap podcast, week 11. Week 11, not quite done. Still Monday Night Football to go here. Cowboys at the Raiders. Lots of news yesterday, lots of new news today. I'm catching up right now on Twitter, looking down, but I think you'll catch me up. Oh, look at that. Schefter, I just see. I think there's a real possibility that CJ Stroud will miss his third straight game. We talked about it yesterday. We believe he is missing his third straight game this Thursday.
Thursday night. It's a short
report today.
Yeah.
But we talked about it yesterday. Thursday game, Davis Mills again. That's the latest Schefter report. That was on McAfee. Awesome.
I wanted to mention something on that, Doc, because Kafka just spoke too. Last podcast, you said when a head coach early in the week says remains in protocol, it's not that big of a deal. Maybe more for Jackson Dart, right? Because they have the week on Sunday. But this is a Thursday night football game. You don't really have that many days to be doing this. So that's why the Stroud situation is different from Dart, correct?
More importantly, Dart was out 1 week. And they could have been, okay, he's not making it. Let's not push him. Stroud's already been out 2 weeks.
Right.
You're out 1 week. You can make acceleration some the second week. You're out 2 weeks. So what's so special about acceleration the second week when you didn't make it? Sorry, acceleration the third week for a short game when you didn't accelerate on the second week, right? I mean,
not much
different. Yeah, that's kind of why we said that. A little bit different here.
So if you're an Atlanta Falcons fan, Doc, you're waking up this morning and you're in pain. Maybe not as much pain as London and Penix are, but just losing your 2 stars like that in a week. We'll talk about Penix first and then London. So Penix, we didn't see a whole lot. When we were on the podcast last night, our big show that we do after the games at 4:00, the rundown, we got news that it was a re-aggravation of the bone bruise. Now you're seeing now that this is potentially, he's already been put on IR. This is the left knee. This is the knee he's had ACL problems in the past. Tell me what you're seeing from the new Penix information.
Well, on the video, it didn't look bad. He did go down in a flexed knee position consistent with PCL. It makes sense that it does not seem to be a new PCL injury, but an aggravation of one earlier this season where he missed a game with a bone bruise. That makes some sense. Are teams and players always more careful with a re-aggravation than the first time? Yes. Look at Brock Purdy, who played very well yesterday. He missed 6. I won't say 6, 7. I guess I just did. For more weeks.
Yeah.
After he injured it week 1, missed week 2, came back week 3, re-aggravated it, and then missed 6 weeks. He came back missing 1 game, and now he's missed 6. Well, now he's back, and no re-aggravation. That's the pattern. So it makes sense. The question here is, I can tell you this. On that play, there is no way that Penix retore his ACL. What they're saying about the ACL has to be related to previous surgery where perhaps the ACL is already not 100%.
Okay.
And now they're saying, well, is it time with the PCL laxity? It's going to stress the ACL more. It doesn't look 100%. Are we better off doing something about it now? And that's to be determined. I have not seen his MRI. I have not examined Michael Penix. I don't believe Michael Penix, if he had a new or normal ACL, we would be talking about the ACL today. We're only talking about the ACL in construct with the PCL injury. Right. The PCL is the new injury. But if the ACL prevents your knee from shifting forward and the PCL prevents your knee from shifting back, one can imagine if your ACL isn't 100% tight, and this is speculation / analysis on my part, injury analysis, not reporting.
Right.
Not uncommon after an ACL reconstruction. He's known to have his problems on his left knee before. Now, if your knee starts further back and there's more runway to shift forward, doesn't that shift make a bigger deal? Think of it this way. there are four main ligaments in your knee. If one leg on your bar stool, like the four main ligaments in your knee, is a little bit off and the bar stool rocks a little bit,
You're teetering. Yep. Yeah.
it's okay. It works. But when that second leg is off, now the rock is a lot worse.
Yep.
Now, for those, before Doug criticizes us, our producer, yes, that was visual. For podcast can't see.
For the audio, they did not see you.
Visual podcast, they can see. Audio, they can't. I'm shifting in the chair, leaning side to side.
Imagine the rocking of a bar stool. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, imagine. Yes.
Yeah.
Let me paint the Vin Scully picture. The rocking of a bar stool.
Yeah,
that's why the ACL now has come into play. It's not that he tore his ACL on that play. The compromised ACL may now be accentuated, and they're getting opinions on what to do about it.
So you've been taking PCL. You're already great lead-in Drake London. I just want to give you some comps real quick. From a fantasy perspective, when you see PCL, it doesn't sound good, right? You said Purdy already, and then you had Bowers and Pearsall, who both have had long-term absences with a PCL. Tell me what you saw in Drake London and how he's already kind of ruled out for 1 week and maybe more.
Well, obviously Purdy, I'm looking at the breaking news here, but obviously Purdy was turf toe, right?
Yes. Yeah. Excuse me. Yes.
And, so, boy, it's all flooded
Pearsall
with
and
Penix news right now.
Yeah.
In any case, with Michael Penix in summary, I don't think his ACL is a new injury. It's if there's some underlying injury, the PCL may unmask it. He's on IR, so he's out 4 weeks. And it's likely season ending now, because what's going to happen in 4 weeks? If he's not 100%, why would the Falcons aren't in it? Why would they try and waste him at the end of the season? And 4 weeks from now, 4 games from now, where are the Falcons going to be standing? And with that becomes, we want him right for next season. The discussion that's being had in the building and with Michael Penix, his agent and his doctors, is, are we better off fixing the ACL now? Because typically you do not fix the PCL. So in my analogy on the bar stool rocking, as you go side to side, 1 leg's off, rocks a little bit, you don't worry about it. 2 legs off, now it rocks more. And typically you do not reconstruct the PCL. That's the norm. So if you're going to have some chronic PCL laxity, does that throw off the ACL mild laxity from his previous surgeries? Not 100%. And the discussion is now, he's the future. Are we better off facing the fact that here's a young quarterback whose ACL is functional today, but not perfect,
right,
that now has a PCL, which we're not going to reconstruct, and it may now stress the ACL? Are we better off facing the potential reality in this young quarterback that is our future and trying to do an ACL now? Because doing an ACL now, with it being his left back leg, whatever, quarterbacks have a better return after ACL than, let's say, a wide receiver, a running back, or a DB. Quarterbacks can project to be ready at the start of next season. Are you better off saying, let's just have a surety today, given the PCL stresses on the ACL, than leaving it alone and then having a problem at the beginning of next season and then it costing us a year? That's the discussion going on in the Atlanta Falcons room. It's not a brand new ACL tear.
Right.
The ACL injury is somewhat chronic and it was never unmasked. But now that the PCL, so if the knee starts, the ACL keeps the knee from shifting forward, the PCL keeps the knee from shifting back. If you're now starting back, does this have more net play? And I get that doesn't translate on podcast audio, but if you start further back and the knee already goes a little bit forward, the net excursion is greater. That's the discussion going on with the Atlanta Falcons right now. And their season, what's their record now?
3-7.
3-7. So they would have to go on a,
pretty big run. Yeah.
10-7 will get you in. 9-8, you have to get lucky.
You're saying almost a win out kind of situation, which
8-9.
Yeah.
I don't know that teams ever make it at 8-9, but you'd have to have every tiebreaker and a lot of luck. So that's kind of where they're at with that.
So jump into Drake
London. Drake London. What's the latest news on Drake London? I'm looking here. We talked about him some yesterday.
They just confirmed the PCL. They confirmed the PCL, and they mentioned that week 12 is likely an absence for him, but they haven't confirmed more. So I was just wanted your input, because the last couple PCLs, sorry for Purdy is turf toe. The last couple PCLs we've had from a fantasy, player standpoint, Bowers and Pearsall, they've missed multiple weeks. Pearsall just returned last week. He didn't do much. Bowers played through it a lot, and then he was out, didn't play. Remember the bone bruise as well for him. So tell me, for London, it is 1 week, but do you expect this injury to linger past the 1 week?
Potentially, yes, especially if there's any bone bruise component, like Michael Penix or like Brock Bowers. I don't think it's going to be surgical. And look, can it be only a week, miss week 12? It's possible. Drake London is quite a talent, but imagine, and I don't even know this second who the Falcons play this week. Who the Falcons play? The Falcons play the Saints. Okay.
Divisional game, yes.
If they get by the Saints, if they lose to the Saints, that may be take your time, Drake London.
Yes, yeah.
But it's not surgical, which is the only good news.
Yes. One I want to talk about before we jump into some other big fantasy players is the Monday Night Football game, Doc. I want to talk real quick about the return of DeMarvion Overshown, big-time linebacker. He's gone through a lot. He had his rookie year, he tore his ACL on the other side. Recently, he tore his MCL, ACL, and PCL on the knee recently. He is just returning tonight. He's even in freshman in college. He had a tibial plateau fracture in his knee, and he had to have 2 screws in there. So there's multiple injuries that he's come back from. Tell me your thoughts on what you're expecting from him tonight and for the future.
Well, DeMarcus Lawrence used to be their best player, then maybe Micah Parsons. But DeMarvion Overshown, now I get Lawrence isn't there and Parsons in there, but it's clearly, when healthy, their best player, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
He's their sideline to sideline linebacker. He's their best player. He's very dynamic. He's done a fantastic job, and people love it when I say I'm wrong. Okay, I'm wrong in that he's coming back sooner than I thought he would. However, his own estimates were Thanksgiving, and he's beating that. And I'm thrilled that he is back tonight. I don't think he's taken 60 snaps. But I'd love to see him take 20 snaps and look good sideline to sideline.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love it even more if he looked great on 20 snaps. I think he's going to do about 20 snaps and be serviceable, which is still good, which is still ahead of schedule, which still will help the Cowboys. Very difficult. You can't, and there's nothing like returning to football and doing football activities to help in your rehab. Mark my words, his 2026 campaign will be better than what he looks like in the remaining games this season. That's good news.
Right.
He's back early, but remember, recovery is not a light switch. It's not like he's back, boom, turn the light switch on, he's 100%. It's more of a slow sunrise. And when do you put him out there? Do you wait till it's high noon? No, you probably put him out there at 7 a.m. when it's light enough to see and do some things.
Right.
But it's not bright sunlight yet. So good to see him back. Not expecting the great DeMarvion Overshown. We'll take a pretty darn good for 20 snaps.
Not to compare the two situations or the injuries, Doc. Remember Jaylen Smith? You were very low on him coming out of the draft. I don't want to bring up because Cowboys fans are going to love this when you talk about him. But are you worried about Overshown's career, that he can't match the same play that he did the last couple of years, or is this something like a Jaylen Smith that he's a good run stopper, but the side to side might be gone?
Too early to tell.
Okay.
Any multi-ligament knee injury to a dynamic athlete is career threatening. Doesn't mean that it's career ending. Don't know yet if he can return to be the same dynamic linebacker, but the possibility remains that he could. Not for 2025,
right?
Maybe for 2026. The difference between him and Jaylen Smith, I really don't hate on Jaylen Smith. I have a ton of respect for Jaylen Smith. It is amazing that he had the career that he had. What's a shame is he was described as a generational linebacker.
Absolutely.
And he was far from that. And my point is, once you have the nerve damage, that is the writing on the wall that you will not reach the same heights that you could have reached. I don't see any of that on Overshown. There were some hurdles to get to his same heights, but not a roadblock. Jaylen Smith had a roadblock. I think Cowboys fans I hope they're no longer mad at me. Cowboys was one of my favorite teams growing up. I like the white hats and the black hats. The black hats were the Raiders and the white hats were the Cowboys.
Yep.
I like Rodgers, Staubach, and all the guys.
You're friends with Norv. You're friends with Norv Turner, best offensive coordinator Cowboys have ever had. So, I mean, I
didn't know Norv Turner when he was with the Cowboys.
Yeah.
He was more with the triplets, not with. I mean, I was talking when I was little. Roger Staubach, Tony Dorsett, Drew Pearson, Preston Pearson, Cliff Harris, Randy White. Ed Too Tall Jones. Okay, I mean. A lot of different Cowboys. Okay. But so I'm a Cowboys fan at heart from being a kid, but in any case, and remember back in the day, only certain games were on TV, and it's like a whole generation of Cubs fans because WGN, they were on TV.
They were
a generation of Braves fans because they were on the TBS Superstation, right?
Yep.
I mean, when old school days, when you turn on your rabbit ear TV, you only got 2 games at most, and there was a good chance one of them was the Cowboys. So how did I get to be a Cowboys fan when I was young, a kid? Because they were on TV, kind of deal. But anyways, I think in the end, I never changed my opinion on Jaylen Smith. I hope I've been very respectful of Jaylen Smith. I think fandom, the fanatic side of Cowboys fans, got the better of them in saying they didn't like me per se, but I think I told the truth the whole time. Now you look at the whole span of his career, he wasn't the same. And looking back, did he deserve that second contract that Jerry gave him?
I don't want to answer. I don't like talking about it, but maybe not that much money. But yeah, it's because what happened is, like you said, he led the league in tackles. Remember, he led the league in tackles, and did he
deserve to be a top pick in the second round? No, but it doesn't matter. That's the same year they got Dak Prescott in the 4th round. Dak Prescott,
they won that
round
pick. Yes,
right. So if you would have gotten Dak in the 2nd round and Jaylen Smith in the 1st round, would it be any different than what they have today? No, it's fine. The Cowboys did fine. They did a good job. But Jaylen Smith has overachieved. Congratulations to him. I'd salute him for beating the odds to even be in the NFL. Not hating on Jaylen Smith. That is for sure.
And then go back with good news on Overshown. We'll see how he does. But yeah, we'll
see how he does.
Yeah.
I think the bigger news today is Marshawn Kneeland.
Yes. Yeah.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
We talked about this. If the Cowboys didn't have a bye week, I think it's difficult for them to play the game and field the team.
At their full potential. Yeah.
Certainly, you couldn't put me any stronger on the other team. Not that that minimizes things.
Right.
But when it's one of yours that their life goes away, it very hard to recover from. Very hard. And if the Cowboys played last week, I don't see how they could put on a winning product. Forget all the missed practice and meeting time. Just emotionally, their heart not in.
Exactly. Yeah.
The question now is, and I think no one can answer the question till you hit the field. But now that they've had 2 weeks, there was no game last week, by a full week to process it. Are they past it? No, I don't think they're past it.
Mm-hmm.
But can they marshal their emotions?
Play through it, yeah.
Play through it. Helmet decal, celebration, do it for him.
His family too, as well. The living family, the fun, yeah.
I hope so. But I will tell you tonight, and I don't mean to belittle this, there are going to be more Marshawn Kneeland mentions during the broadcast, and rightfully so. Mm-hmm. And from the players, pregame and postgame, whenever they talk.
They'll mention his name. Yeah, absolutely.
His name's going to come up a lot tonight, more than any Taylor Swift attended game at the height, and rightfully so.
Right.
Marshawn Kneeland is just, it's going to overshadow Overshown's return. It's going to overshadow the return of Overshown, the addition of Quillen Williams and Logan Wilson, all combined. It'll be the number one topic tonight on the Cowboys' minds.
We'll monitor that. Obviously, we're watching Overshown and watching the whole situation in the Cowboys. There may even be go to SICScore.com. There may be a SIC pick play as well with them. There's some injury advantages as well for the Cowboys. Lane Johnson, speaking of thorn, he's been a thorn in the side for the Cowboys for years. Liz Frank foot injury. I'm saying our boy Mike Garafalo said 4 to 6 weeks. What are your thoughts on his injury and if the IR is imminent?
I think he's going to head to IR. I think it's a good scenario for the Eagles if he's back by playoffs. And the Cowboys will not have to face Lane Johnson. Liz Frank, the Cowboys play next Sunday in, I guess, 6 days. 7 days. Stop. I know.
It's in my brain every time I see it. Yeah, and we have little kids that are saying it all around the house.
Yeah, they're saying it. But anyways, he is not going to face the Cowboys next week.
Next one, Doc. Josh Jacobs, huge fantasy player. They said injury not considered major, no structural damage, which I need your thoughts on there. I always get weirded out when I hear that because I don't believe it sometimes. And they said week to week. So they play the Vikings this week, likely out. Your thoughts on his injury, what you saw on Sunday?
You got to understand, and I've been fortunate. One of the things that I've enjoyed, when I was in the NFL, Taylor, I had no idea I knew how the sausage was made from a team perspective. Mm-hmm. I had no idea how the sausage was made related to media reporting and what have you. And thankfully, I still don't consider myself a media guy, but I've talked to enough media guys on a regular, basically daily basis. I have an understanding of how the sausage is made. No structural damage. Where does that come from? Does it come from a doctor? No, and no way. Does it come from an athletic trainer? Typically, no. It comes from a layperson, an agent, or the team. So there's a filtering of what's released. For example, I'll say it again here. Jayden Daniels had no structural damage to his elbow. I will bet any amount of money, anyone in the world, that he had structural damage to his elbow, including to his ligament, including the ulnar collateral ligament. Right. Period. End of story. To prove it, I know you can't get access to the MRI, but I will bet you any amount of money that he had structural damage to the ligament. What the Commanders were saying is there was no structural damage that required surgery.
Right.
There was microscopic damage. There was this, there was that. I agree. Even with a completely torn ulnar collateral, which he obviously had, non-throwing elbow. And there are many other quarterbacks, non-throwing elbow, who have returned from that and never had surgery. And I remember one of the first games I ever covered, I attended Super Bowl 49, Richard Sherman, torn ulnar collateral ligament. Oh my God, he's playing through. He's going to have surgery at the end of the season. This was down in Phoenix, the comeback game, goal line interception, Patriots win game. I was like, he's not going to have surgery at the end of the season on his ulnar collateral. You don't need surgery for that. You're a DB. And he didn't. Okay. So getting back to the point here, Josh Jacobs, no structural damage. I would say no structural damage that needs surgery. If he has no structural damage and it's just some swelling, why is he week to week? Why isn't he day to day? It's no structural damage that requires surgery is all. Let me tell you, Isaiah Pacheco has missed how many weeks now?
2.
He's got no structural damage that requires surgery.
Right. He has an MCL sprain, which means structural damage to the MCL.
Sprain is damage, whatever.
Right,
Enough.
right.
Good news on Josh Jacobs. We didn't see anything definitive, which is good. But week to week, I'll take it. He's on my fantasy team. But I don't think he's playing for the against the Vikings this week.
Two ones we don't have updates with because Mike Tomlin doesn't usually say much, but I want to emphasize, someone asked about Jaylen Warren. So when you talk about Jaylen Warren, just talk a little about Aaron Rodgers too. What did you see on Jaylen Warren first? Because that's a specific question we had from the chat.
Jaylen Warren got rolled up funny, inversion ankle sprain, returned for one play, and then was out. I don't see this as long-term. Okay, even Jaylen Warren's fairly standard sprained ankle, we can call it a basketball type ankle sprain where you turn your ankle.
Inversion, yeah.
There's structural damage there too.
Right.
Okay, let's not get it twisted. It's a sprained anterior talofibular ligament. It's a standard inversion basketball sprain. Will he play this week? Lean towards no, but not impossible. Is he going to hit IR? Sincerely doubt it. It'll be a Gainwell week. I'm not even sure who the Steelers play right now.
They play the Bears.
Oh, they play the Bears. But it's not an IR. It's short term for Jaylen Warren is my thought at the moment.
And then speak on Aaron Rodgers real quick. Just we have no updates, so obviously it's not new information, but just speak on what you said on the halftime real quick, just because he's one of the bigger ones.
Well, we talked about Aaron Rodgers yesterday, and when we started the wrap up week 11, we talked about, I literally said, I don't see how isn't a fracture there, because how does Aaron Rodgers leave the game for a non-dominant hand injury? But we had no information and our video wasn't clear. And then as we were wrapping up the podcast, I was summarizing Aaron Rodgers and his fracture and what the fracture could be when one of our guys, Daniel, showed you the on his phone that Schefter was saying slight fracture.
Right.
Now, what definition of slight? Broken is broken, right? It's pregnant, not pregnant. Slight meaning non-displaced.
Right.
Obviously, there's spin going on there. And it doesn't surprise me that Aaron Rodgers saying, don't count me out, I'm lobbying to play. That's what we said. Aaron Rodgers, how does he come out of the game without there being a fracture? He didn't get his hand stepped on and he says it's sore and I can't play. I mean, there was something more to it. Now the word of fracture. What kind of fracture? Statistically, the number one kind is a scaphoid fracture, non-displaced, slight crack in the navicular scaphoid bone, the peanut-shaped bone in your wrist, poor blood supply. The other type of fracture that it might be much more likely to be the scaphoid, 80% scaphoid, only 20% chance of a distal radius crack. The question is, with the small crack, can you play through? You probably can with a cast. But how do you handle the ball with a cast? Okay, you throw with one hand, but you still have to have ball security in the pocket. You got to take snaps. You got to hand off. And there are some isolated examples of quarterbacks playing through. If this were his dominant hand, IR. Done, IR in season. It's not. Can he wear a small enough splint to take snaps, have ball security, and play? My answer is yes. The question is how small, how effective, and does he need surgery before he does it? It's totally possible that the type of slight fracture he has, whether scaphoid or distal radius, is one that you and I would not have surgery on. We would wear a cast or a splint that's a little bit bigger. But for Aaron Rodgers to function, he's going to want something smaller. Does surgery with a screw, small plate screw or something, give him more stability where the doctors can say you can wear a little bit smaller splint?
Right.
That's where surgery comes into play. And surgery does not mean he's now on IR. Surgery means they're doing it to try and get him back more quickly. The opposite. I can't give a firm prediction for when he comes back until we know which bone is broken and more details. And that news isn't out yet. But our best analysis is Aaron Rodgers is unlikely to hit injured reserve. Whether he has surgery or not remains to be determined. But he has surgery. Don't be afraid. That's not surgery. Oh, his season is over. That is surgery so I can return more quickly with a smaller splint.
Okay.
That's the difference of surgery there.
Another chat question we've had, Doc, is on Bucky.
If he has surgery,
yep,
the likelihood is he misses 1 week because you got to let the wound heal and so forth and the swelling come down before you put it in the splint. If he doesn't have surgery, I'm sure Aaron Rodgers will lobby to play with some sort of splint on. If I have to guess, and we don't even know the fracture, my guess is it's Mason Rudolph this week, Aaron Rodgers with a potential screw placed, and Aaron Rodgers next week. No insider information at all.
And that would be against the Bills. Yeah. Okay.
Insider knowledge and analysis, not insider information.
Two people have been injured for a long time, Doc, for Tampa Bay, Bucky Irving and Chris Godwin. Bucky Irving's been out 6 weeks, which is interesting because they did not put him on IR. I have an update just because remember last week Bowles said no timetable, so we thought there would be a lot longer. Today, this week, Wednesday last week, they saw him at walkthrough. Should that get us excited that he's coming back soon, or is there still no timetable? So there wasn't really an update, but a lot of people are asking questions about him because he was seen at practice.
Seen at practice is progress.
Okay.
This is the first week that Bucky Irving has a chance to play. I'm not expecting him to play.
Okay.
But this is the first week with a chance.
And that's good news for fantasy people. Yeah.
It's soon, right? Maybe and not this, but soon.
Right. One last question, Doc, before we wrap up. Brian Thomas, he's missed 2 games now due to his wrist injury. They play a divisional game against the Titans this week. Is this another week that he's going to be out, or do you expect him to try to play week 12?
Do we have any other details on the type other than generic?
It was a high ankle. High ankle,
that's what I thought.
Yes, yeah.
Honestly, probably out again.
Okay.
Lean towards out. And Godwin, I think Irving comes back for Godwin.
Okay, yeah.
What did Pearsall do yesterday? I don't even recall.
So I was looking into it, Doc. One thing I didn't fail. I know we don't look at this stuff too much, but Pearsall was playing where he's from. So maybe that might have helped push him to start, but he had 3 targets and 1 yard. So 1 catch for 0 yards, excuse me. So didn't produce anything, but I mean, he was emotional on the sidelines. I saw him talking to fan stuff. So,
well, one thing about Pearsall is that I don't know that we did it at 6 squared. What did I say? If there's a prop posted on Pearsall, take the under.
Yeah.
I don't know that we did that.
We did not. No.
But he didn't look right in practice last week.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, good enough to get on the field. Great. Good for him. And we probably overestimated Devontae Adams. I was always asked, is he playing? Is he playing? Is he playing?
And you were like, he's playing. Yeah.
But I don't know that most places I was asked how well. I mean, I didn't know what his prop yards were. Obviously, he got a touchdown. You know what he reminded me of? Mike Evans a couple
Evans,
years
yeah.
ago. Mike Evans with Tampa, when he had a hamstring, he said, he's not playing. He's not playing. There's no way. He's not 100%. He fooled us, and people got mad at me. He started the game. People got mad at me. He was clearly a decoy. 1 catch, 1 yard, and a touchdown.
Can I say something, though? An outlier stat besides that, Doc? He had 8 targets. So I know he had the 1 catch, the 1 yard, and the touchdown, but 8 targets is a lot, right? That's for – like, I don't know if maybe Stafford missed them. They were on the same page because of practice, but that's a little bit, tiny bit more than a decoy, right? 8 targets is a pretty significant part of the game.
They were trying to get him the ball, but he ended
Yeah.
up with 1 catch, 1 yard, and a touchdown,
It was
right?
a red zone
Same
play.
stat line as
Yeah.
Mike Evans years ago.
That's a Mike Evans line. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Just to wrap it up, Doc, great week at SIC Picks. We're going to have another deal coming up. And also college basketball, NBA, all this. This is, we're at that time of year, right, that all the sports are starting to overlap. But SIC Picks has all those picks and all the SIC insights for the top players in basketball and obviously football. All the latest information that's coming out today, we will update on SICScore.com. Any last thoughts, Dad, before anybody needs to like and subscribe?
Yeah, I'm just looking at some of the things. Partially torn ACL. We talked about Penix. It's not new. It's part. Look, a reconstructed ACL doesn't look normal on MRI. That's so everything we said before. Is
Okay. Yeah, that's good to know.
All right. And great week for SIC Picks. The Chiefs were the one team to let us down. Otherwise, it would have been a perfect record. Yeah. 6-1 or something like that. And then
guaranteed ticket, the Eagles. That was a great pick for us. Yeah.
And I think it would have been a blowout, but for the wind, you could see the Eagles trying to throw the ball against the Detroit secondary. They weren't as effective as they might have been, but for the wind. But
it was a Devontae Smith play. Remember, he threw it deep to Devontae Smith, and it was like you said, it was like 5 to 6 yards short, and they didn't throw it deep the rest of the game after that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and then the Chiefs game was the only one. The Broncos played well. The Chiefs underachieved. That missed extra point hurt, and then allowed the field goal to tie. Otherwise, the Broncos would have had to score a touchdown there towards the end. And all good.
One thing to mention on Penix, Doc, that Schefter just tweeted: 5th season-ending injury for him in 8 college and pro seasons. That's not injury prone. Some of these injuries are obviously you can't help it, but that is something that you should worry about as a franchise, or is that something that you're just going on to the next season and you're fine with him as the leader?
Well, I mean, I think you're trying to move on, and you've drafted him. He's your guy right now. And, there's only certain things you can change. Maybe you can get better protection around him. Yes, was he trying to extend to play some, but no offense to a guy that I like, Jackson Dart. He wasn't doing a Jackson Dart or Anthony Richardson running around like crazy and got the first down and still trying to run. I mean, that's why they're trying to corral Jackson Dart.
Yep.
Penix isn't doing that, so it's hard. I will point out one thing as we conclude. I found it interesting last week with the Jackson Dart concussion, and we talked about before the news on Sunday that they're going to want him to run in a more controlled way. And it's hard, but it is something that he's going to need to do for longevity. But it flew under the radar. We noted it, and I wasn't trying to be critical, but I said, it just goes to show you how hard the spotter in the sky the job is. We saw video after the game of Jackson Dart. Some people said he's clearly out when he's on the ground. That can't be up for interpretation. And that he clearly made no effort to recover the fumble. That's true. And knowing Jackson Dart, he would make an effort to recover a fumble. What does that tell you? That the spotter in the sky, I think everyone would agree, in retrospect, should have buzzed down in that moment, as opposed to allowing him after the next series to play 2 plays before he was pulled. Not being critical of the spotter in the sky. Like I said, it's a hard job. But did you notice this week there were a couple of quick buzz downs? Jordan Love got lit up in the left shoulder, and he had to go for a mandatory head check. Now, it turned out he went in the locker room for the shoulder, put some sort of strap or harness on, etc. But that was a buzz down for a head check. Justin Herbert had a buzz down for a head check. Both of them cleared that. But it did seem like there probably was a league memo that, hey guys, when in doubt, buzz down.
Right.
If you see a big hit, you don't wait for it to make sure, was he concussed for sure or not? The whole point is to alert and buzz down. And I think that's good for player safety. I just hope it doesn't
go away after a couple weeks. Right? Yeah.
Impact the results of a game due to that, kind of thing.
It's like when I'm younger, Doc, when I get yelled at when I was younger, the first 2 weeks, I didn't do it. I didn't do the thing again, right? But after those 2 weeks, maybe you start doing the stuff again, right? So let's see.
And as a further deterrent, if a defender goes helmet to helmet on somebody, there should be a rule that for sure the defender has to leave to get checked. Mm-hmm. That's more immediate punishment than any potential penalty or suspension or fine. And guys don't want to come off the field and say, look, if you get flagged for helmet to helmet or leading with the head, you got to go get a concussion check. Mm-hmm. That will help deter that as well. You can argue, shouldn't the offensive player, but you also don't want to penalize the offensive player. Should there be an automatic timeout for him to get a quick screen so that he can stay in the game if need be? That's a whole nother discussion. But I do think it's going to leak out that the league sent a memo to the spotters. Come on now, let's get back at it. When in doubt, buzz down, which is not a bad thing. And I think we saw it this Sunday. All right. Thanks for listening and watching Pro Football Doc Sports Injury Central podcast. And that's a beautiful fake background you have there in the blue skies.
Yes. It's the brand new laptop screen. It's the same screen.
It almost looks like a real background.
Yes. Not in my shower. I'm in the office. It's real. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you soon. And good luck tonight, too.